All right, hey everyone. So let's talk a little bit more about how abortion affects your workplace. Okay, workplace, wherever you work. So this is something that had happened that I haven't really shared too much about. But when I was 14, 15, I started working in the restaurant business. And back in the day, there was a lot of harassment, right? It was just the way it was. I mean, you could go up to a waitress, you could slap her butt, you could say anything you wanted, pretty much, a guy to a girl, right? You could do anything. So, when I was there, I had a lot of harassment. I mean, a lot. And so I think my father's philosophy pretty much was throw your kids to the wolves and they'll learn. That's pretty much how he felt like we would learn. Get out in the world and you'll learn the hard way. So with mine, I was like, no, I'm going to grow my kids up in the correct stuff, correct doctrine, in good ways, so that when they are out there, they're a little bit stronger. Although we're in a different world today, and it's a lot harder, I think, for kids than ever. But even when back in the day when you could get thrown to the wolves or you got out there to learn the hard way, there was a community, right? There was a big, big community where if you did something wrong, if your parents were not there, someone would tell your mom or someone would tell your dad, right? There was a safety net that, one way or another, you usually had some kind of protection. At least, when you were younger. The time my teen years came, there was a lot people got away with. So I worked at this small town restaurant. It was called Billy's Restaurant, and everyone knew everybody. And I would work there, and they had, like huge breakfasts. And the owner was drunk all the time. I mean, I served him beer when I was underage, and it was just a different world back then, right? Different code of conduct. So as I worked there, I mean, I saw a lot of stuff. There was a lot. There was older women hitting on younger guys. There were, I mean, anything that you could think of pretty much happened there. Drugs. My husband was smoking marijuana when he worked with me. There was just so much going on, and I had the older guys picking on me a lot. I mean, they were like 21, and I'm only like 15, right? So, they would pick on my clothes. Like, I would try to wear what was in style. My mother dressed me really well when I was younger, so I would have like these short pants on, whatever was in style. And they would do the Nair commercial and pick on me. This was when they were picking on me, We wear short shorts, we wear short shorts. And they'd go in the kitchen and they would actually lift up their pants. It's kind of funny. They would lift up their pants. Steve and I'm trying to think of the other guy's name, Clark. They would lift up their pants and they would hold on to each other. These are guys, right? And start kicking like the commercial and make fun of me. And I wouldn't know what to do, right? I was totally embarrassed. I would just kind of laugh it off. And then another time I was working and there was a whole stack of cups, plastic cups, and I bumped into them because I was so nervous getting picked on that the whole rack fell, and they were cracking up laughing at me. And they were calling me Grace after that, which was another way to get picked on. Anyways, that's fun kind of stuff, right? You're just going to get picked on because boys like you, and that's what my aunt told me, like, when boys started to pick on me in, like, I don't know, 3rd grade, 4th, 5th grade, right? They used to pick on me. And so 6th grade came around, and it was time for me to have a bit of vengeance, because these same boys that picked on me, they now liked me, and I was in in a good way, right? So, anyways, so from there, what I want to talk about, something that came up too with this whole abortion thing, is when you are in a workplace, some of it's playful, but some of it gets out of hand. So I was in a walk-in closet. And there was this guy, Billy's son, Billy White, who was like 21 and I was just like 15, and he liked me. And he ended up, like when I would go to work, he would sing White Snake songs to me. Pretty Little White Girl. He had his white sports car parked behind the restaurant, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even walk in without him asking me out, right? And he had like this beautiful girlfriend. I mean, she was like model. And I used to think, why is he, interested in me? And so one day, this was right around the abortion time too, and this is what's come out for me recently as I have continued to heal from post-traumatic stress. I was in the walk-in closet, and he came in with me, and he locked the door behind us. And, well, he didn't lock it, he shut it. And then I was getting bread because we were out of bread, and he came up to me, and he got very close to me. And he actually leaned forward and tried to kiss me. So when he did this, in the nick of time, this other lady came in to get bread, and she was like, "Oh, excuse me," and didn't even think twice, like maybe he shouldn't be acting like this with a younger girl. She just left us alone. And I think I had said something like, "Oh, I got to get back to the kitchen," or something. But those are the things too that will come up with post-traumatic stress. You may not feel certain things until they come up. You may have forgotten about certain things until they come up. And when something comes up in a similar fashion, not the same with Gabe Bolt at all. I mean, he wasn't trying to kiss me, but the same type of, getting too close, invading somebody's space, is definitely a reaction to something that had happened right around the abortion. And also, having an abortion and learning, this is the way I learned how to deal with stuff. I learned to disassociate with that abortion. I learned when I was there, there was nothing I could do. You didn't argue with my mother. What my mother said was the way it went. And despite how I got there, bottom line is it was her decision that I was too young. So, trusting my mother, she said, sign the papers, don't read them, just sign them, trusting her. And that's the context of an abortion. A lot of times is trust. You're trusting an adult. And I trusted her, and then to not be able to get out of the situation, they had already dilated me, and I was thinking, okay, what's going on here? This is not what I thought it was going to be, right? I thought just, you're in trouble, you're pregnant, you're in trouble, going to the doctors, not you're going to be dilated, you're going to have something put in you, you're going to then go back to the doctors. And by that point, when I saw the blood and everything, I just disassociated. I couldn't take it anymore. And that was my way of surviving. That was my way of taking it. And just having a nurse hold my hand, knowing I was scared, saying it's going to be okay. So there is a lot to deal with around the abortion issue. You don't just want to deal with the abortion, but you want to deal with everything that happened around it, including afterwards, when the guys, when you went down and you just didn't care. Your standard got lower. It's, they say sex trafficking. They say, some have said you can't really have had an abortion without a choice unless you've been sex trafficked. And that's not true. That's not true at all. A lot of the symptoms of being sex trafficked is low self-esteem, feeling of shame and guilt and everything, no sense of worth. Same thing with a girl after she has an abortion. I mean, I remember walking partway home on the highway and closing that door, slamming the door a little bit to the car where I was dropped off after the silent treatment on the way home, after having been mistreated with an abortion. So walking home, I just thought, never again will I ever, trust somebody again, kind of thing. And I remember just my whole walk changing, and that those defenses were to protect myself because I already had lost so much. My self-esteem went down. Everything changed within a minute. So those psychological things do happen around abortion, and when something similar happens later on, you can take responsibility, which I do. I take responsibility for my part of any misinformation or misunderstanding with what happened, and to realize that, that those things relating to guys in a certain way, back in the day, you didn't stick up for yourself back in the day. You didn't, if a guy was flirting with you, you took it and you just understood the nature of men, how men are. You do understand how they operate, and you just took it. And the same thing, with understanding those relationships around abortion. Understand how they affect you and how post-traumatic stress later on will affect you with men. How when men, after you've had an abortion, how that can affect you, and how you can be very, very protective, extremely protective of your space after an abortion. And it doesn't mean that somebody was trying to do something, but those thoughts are going to come back up, or your experience. And unless you know someone well, you're not going to understand their experience with an abortion. So that's what I got for now, ladies. And take the extra time to, I feel like there's something in my eye. Hold on. Take the extra time to go through this. It interrupts life. I mean, you've got to deal with it. You've got to get in there with your work situations. You got to figure out, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why is this bothering me? What is going on? Was it really what it looked like? Was it really, how did you react? What kind of things are coming up? So that's what you want to do to pretty much finish up healing from abortion. You want to look at every area around the abortion and say, how do I relate to men? Why do I take something? And this is what I did when Billy White hit on me. I just took it. I just leaned back and I took whatever was going to be coming, and I never said anything to him. I never confronted him. I never stood up to him. You want a job. Back then you wanted a job, so you kept your mouth shut and you just, you took whatever a guy handed out. So, yeah, it was never talked about, and he continued, hitting on me and trying to get me to go out with him all the way until the day that I no longer work there.